What is up, y'all? We are here for episode 7 of Love is Blind. Shout out to all of y'all that have subscribed so far. Do that now. We on the road to 15K. So hit that real quick. I'm going to be here for the rest of the season. Make sure to do this. Y'all been killing it with the thumbs up. Keep doing it. Keep thumbsing up the video. Keep getting in the comments. Let me know y'all's thoughts. Share the video. Episode 7, Annie Weirdo. Like I said, Brendan, you dodged a bullet, and she got me feeling bad for Nick. Like, what? What? But we're going to get into it. Let's go. All right, so we get back where we left off. Well, not really, because we left off with Calabria and Edmund, but we actually picked back up with Madison and Joe. They still in there bickering. She's still in there crying outside, and he done went and got into bed. So she's looking back at him clearly because she wants him to come console her. And he's laying in the bed with the sheets over, knowing that she over there crying, but he didn't ask her, "Are you okay?" Because I can hear you crying. Obviously, she's not okay. But she says, I can't hear you over the waves. And he says, "Do you want me to come over there?" She says, "No, I needed to get away from you for a second. You really wanted him to come over there." But I'm like, but he says that I heard you crying. And she was like, "Then why don't you come over here and check on me? You just told." I'm like, these two are killing me. But he then says, "I'm in the bed." I'm like, "Get up and go comfort her. Like, that's your wife. Obviously, she wants you to console her because she's upset about some shit that you did." But she gets up and goes to the bathroom stating, like, "This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing." And he's gaslighting her, talking about some, "What's embarrassing?" I don't think it's embarrassing, but it's like you know why she's mad. You know why she's doing this. Like, you know exactly why. And we'll get to why he knows exactly why. But she finally calmed down. She went and got back into bed. And he gets up and asks, like, "Do we have food?" Like, he's not drunk anymore. He's not he's back. He's back. But he then asked her that, and she then asked, like, "Are you getting up to eat now?" And she then starts talking about her crying all night. Because at this point, I guess they've slept a little bit because she's fine now at this point. But she ends up talking about how she'd been crying all night and he got in bed and basically ignored her feelings. So she says it was embarrassing. And he's like, "What is embarrassing?" She then says, "To be sitting here crying and my fiance is in the bed not caring about me crying." So he then starts talking about how, like, he randomly just woke up and she was acting out, like gaslighting her, basically making it seem like she throwing a whole fit for no reason. Like, she came in here trying to care for you and tend to you, and you was acting weird to the point where you were so incoherent. It was at the point where it was like she don't know what to do to help you. But then again, the way he was acting, I'd have went, I would have went and left because it was clear he was doing too much. But he's not taking her serious in the moment. He says that, "I can't believe you're doing this." I'm like, stop playing with her. But she says, "I'm not gonna sit here and deal with you basically stating I came in here acting a fool for no reason when I came in here trying to care for you." But she then says, "I'm gonna go sleep somewhere else." He then asks, like, "What do you need from me?" And she says, "I literally told you what I need, aka I need you to pretty much take care of me, like tend to me, start acting like a normal human being." But he then says, like, he feels like it's not warranted. Everything that she's doing is not warranted. But she ends up leaving and she goes outside and she's still crying. But Allie and Anton, they so far have not had any real substance conversations on outside in Cancun. But they're pretty much talking about, like, she's asking him if he's ever gotten his nails painted or putting makeup on. And he's like, "No, like, why the fuck would I want that?" And she's talking about something like, "Your eyes would pop with some mascara." He's like, "They're already popping right now." I said, "What is wrong with you, Allie? Like, do you like that type of shit? Like, what's going on?" We didn't see Megan and Jordan, and I feel like Megan's just doing this because she wants to have a moment. She's crying, talking about, like, today was a lie. He's like, "Can you explain what was a lie?" She says everything. I'm like, "What do you mean everything?" Because I'm confused too. But he then says, like, was us hanging with Nick that bad? And they both start laughing. But Nick, I said Nick talks about, I'm talking about Jordan. He talks about how he essentially was Team Brendan. I was too, and still am. But then again, I'm Team Nick at this point. But he said when he saw Nick and Annie, it makes sense. In this moment, before I saw what else happened, I said, "Yep, it definitely makes sense." But we'll get to it. But she then tells him that she wants him to be there for her. And I'm talking about Megan talking about Jordan. I'm like, "Be there for you for what?" Like, y'all didn't really have a real issue earlier in the day, unless it happened and we didn't see it. Like, you got annoyed with him pretty much fucking around with Anton. Like, I don't get what was so big of a deal that he needed to be there for you. I was like, "What?" But he then says, like, "What do you need?" She says, "I don't know." I said, "So how's he supposed to help you? You don't even know." But he then says, "I need you to communicate." And she says that she wants them to be a power couple and connect. She said she feels like everybody else was that and we weren't. I said, "What is wrong with these people being so hell bent on being the couple of the couples. Like, worry about yourselves. Like, y'all too grown for you. Too grown for this, Megan. You 33 years old. Like, what? He was like, what? And I was like, exactly. But Megan then says that she thought he was trying to be funny with the guys, but she needs him to be there for her again. There for her, how? And that was a lot of my. That's what I was thinking throughout this entire episode. This entire episode, a lot of the conversations, I'm like, what is really going on? But we moved to Calabria and Edmund, and he's telling her that he's thankful for her. And she's like, I mean, I'm happy what happened because it allowed me to learn you a little bit more. Before I proceed, it didn't dawn on me for real, even though I said something was off with Edmund, it didn't dawn on me that he could possibly be what everybody's stating on social media, that he could possibly be on the spectrum. When you sit and think about how he's acted, it does make sense. I'm not going to diagnose him because I don't know if that's true or not. It's not my place to do it, but I am going to start moving a little bit different. I am going to start moving a little bit different because I'm going to be a little bit more careful when it comes to how he's acting, because it's clear something's going on. But she states that, and she says that it's a lie, which is why she wants to wait, talking about the sex and stuff. And he was like, I'm there for you. I'm here for you. He also then says that he's pretty much happy to introduce her as his girl to, like, I guess everybody in his friends and family. And he's been craving and dreaming for that moment. She says that she is too. He then talks about how beautiful she is and how he wasn't expecting her to be that beautiful. And he then starts asking her, like, how many times has she been in love? I said, oh, it's interesting. Now he's finally taking control of the conversation, which is what I wanted to see. But she says 2 to 3 times. He says 3. And he then says, like, he's more ready than ever to fall in love. I personally don't feel like now is the time for him to. I feel like he got a lot to unpack. And I feel like therapy is first what is needed. I feel like he gotta iron out a lot of issues. And when I say issues, not him possibly having a condition, but I feel like he's got a lot of trauma that I feel like he needs to sort out first before. But she says that she feels like the person that she met in the pods talking about him is the same person that she's meeting in real time. And they still have work to do, though. And she's like, I mean, I'm still stuck on what happened the night before, but it takes me a minute to get over things. We'll be fine. I appreciate you for you. And we then move to Annie and Nick. They're outside and they're talking about their families, loving on each of them. And she then says, like, her dad said to her that he hopes that she goes out here and finds somebody manly enough to handle her. I said, interesting. Nick then asks, is that your criteria? Like, what he said, that's your criteria. And she says, I mean, that's his criteria for me. But she then starts asking, like, what he thinks his family would think of her. He pretty much states, like, my mama would just be happy that I have a girlfriend. I said, considering what you said earlier in the episodes, that's aligning. That's aligning. But I'm like, you mean wife? Because that's, or engaged, or your fiance? But, I mean, whatever. But he says that his dad will be excited as well. He says she essentially checks off all the boxes and would check off all the boxes with his family. And he then pretty much asks her if she's ready to get married. She says that she is. She's ready to go back to real life. They then start talking about living together outside in the real world in Denver. She essentially, it sounds like she wants him to get out of the mountains. He seems like he wants her to move up there. But they start talking about working and whatever. She likes to work. She says she just wants him to know that he is still a priority, even though she likes to work. So it sounds like she's going to be spending a lot of time doing that. He talks about how much he worked in the past with his previous relationships, and it was a big deal. But she claims she's not nervous about anything with him. Remember, she said that. Madison and Joe. She's back in the room now. She's sitting there journaling, and she's telling us, like, they're still trying to figure things out. Like, getting space was the right choice, which I think it was. But she woke up crying in the middle of the night, missing him, and she just wanted it to really work out. So Joe comes in as she's looking outside, looking at the view. They hug. She tells him that she missed him. He said he missed her. They sit down and talk it out. She talks about how they've only really been together, like physically together, for 3 days. So at this point, they're trying to figure each other out. They don't really know how to handle certain things, but that's the point in them being together right now. She apologizes for pretty much doing, or at least not doing what she needed or what he needed from her. He apologizes for knowing that she wanted to be heard and he wasn't giving her that. Like I said at the beginning, he knew what he was doing. He said, I apologize for knowing that you wanted to be heard and I didn't give you that. He knew that because he was coherent. He was acting. You can't tell me otherwise. Do I think he might have been on some shit? When I say on some shit, he could have been high or he could have been drunk. Sure. But I feel like he wasn't that far gone. I feel like he was definitely doing that shit to get her riled up. But he then says that he just needed some sleep. He says that he doesn't want her to feel abandoned and he won't let it happen again. He says that he should have came out there and attended to her. She says thank you. They state they love each other and want to work it out and they miss each other. He tells her that he loves her. He says it first. And he tells her as well that he wants to marry her. We will see. But all the couples, they are mingling at nighttime now. So the girls and guys, they're sitting in their girls and guys. And the girls are pretty much talking about their issues. Madison tells them about her and Joe's issue. Calabria, she ends up asking, like, what was y'all's biggest challenge finding common ground? And Madison's like, I mean, just recognizing what we both needed in the moment. That was the biggest issue. But essentially, we're in good places now. Allie says she basically been waiting on a disagreement with Anton because everything seems too good to be true. Essentially, that's what she's stating. And she's like, I mean, in the pods, we were like, we're so similar. And we see, like, in real time, we really are so similar. We'll see. Because everything is still going to plan with these two. Like, they ain't really had no tip. Everybody else essentially has. They haven't yet. But Calabria, she talks about her and Edmund having a heated argument. I wouldn't even call that a heated argument. I would say an outburst, a temper tantrum, and you was just like trying to manage it. But she says that she felt challenged and she was internally debating on if she should basically turn that shit up or be the changed woman that she is. But Megan says, like, most of us have had tough nights, but it's pretty much comforting knowing that we all experience this. Basically, like, we're all going through the motions of getting to know each other. But Madison, she said that she's glad that they're having these issues up front because if they got to the altar and haven't had conflict and don't know how to handle it, it could be a problem. That is true. But the boys, Anton, he's very optimistic about his future with Allie. Edmund pretty much starts talking about how him and Calabria had their moment. They're good now. And they had their conflict and he loves her and whatever. But Jordan, he then tells Nick that he and Annie are like a match made in heaven. And everybody's glazing them about their physical attraction, how they always kissing each other and whatnot. And he was like, yeah, she's all in, and says that she would marry him tomorrow. And it's the most amazing thing that anybody's ever said to him. So they then start talking about Joe being intoxicated and him and Madison pretty much sleeping separately. But Joe's like, we did that, but we're good now. Jordan then starts talking about how him and Megan had their little issue about him being annoying. And he was like, it was kind of like a gut punch because I know I can be annoying, but he wishes that she would have phrased it differently. So he then starts talking about how it was very abrasive and he didn't like how she said it. He then starts talking too about how he's wondering how living together will be because he pretty much explained his work schedule to her and Megan pretty much stated like, we're only going to see each other on the weekend essentially. And he was like, that's probably a good thing because you think I'm annoying and you would get annoyed with me. I said, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign because she's that annoyed with you. She gonna always be that annoyed with you. And y'all only wanting to see each other on the weekend because she's gonna get annoyed with you. That's not a good thing. But he then says like, I'm not super clingy, but too much clinginess can be overbearing to me. So essentially he likes the thought of them only really seeing each other on the weekend. So I'm like, interesting. But they then ask like, does Megan have her own place? He's like, essentially she has her place in LA, but she's transitioning back to Denver. So she's living with her friends and she wants to sell that house. So Nick is like, I mean, that's a good sign that she's wanting to move back to Denver. Do you want to still be in Denver? And he was like, it's not an option because Luca has a half sister and she's in Denver. Is that true though? Like, but I get what you're saying though. I mean, he wants his child to be with his sister. So I get that. But he then talks about how Megan essentially never has been in a relationship with somebody that has kids and they're pretty much going to see what's going to happen. I said, is this foreshadow? Is this foreshadow? So we then get to Annie and Nick in this damn room, and I'm about to take a sip because I'm about to be talking. Hold on. Because this shit is the bulk of my motherfucking notes. So he ends up asking her if she still feels the same way about everybody's relationships and now after seeing them again. And she was like, I mean, some are fine, some aren't. He then says it makes him feel confident in the two of them. She then says, I mean, I get nervous about it, and I get nervous about the fact that if you might not love me the same. I said, what are you talking about? Like, when did we get to this point? He then tells her, I do love you. He then says that he knows that she's nervous, and he starts talking about how him and the guys essentially were talking about everything that was going on with their issues with every other couple. And he was like, he pretty much asked them, like, if y'all were to get married tomorrow, would you say yes? And he says, like, everybody there essentially basically stated that they were unsure. He then says it's more about taking the time to get to explore each other, obviously, because we 3 days into it at this point. We're still getting to know each other. We're still going through the motions. So she then says, that's not my thing. I don't care what everybody else says. I know what I feel. I know what I want. I don't need you telling me what everybody else got going on. And I feel the way that I feel because it doesn't matter to me. I don't care what they're thinking. I don't care. That's basically what she's stating. But he then says, like, I want to take the steps to get to know you better. She says, do what you need to do. I said, what is this attitude? He says, I mean, I want to walk your steps too. And she says, I have my steps too, but I know where I'm at. I'm not sure that you know where you're at, or I'm not sure that you're there with me. I said, what is going on? So he then says the next couple weeks will give me that assurance. Essentially, like, me going through this experience is going to get me to that point to where I'm fully ready. For her to sit there and think that some people might not be questioning certain things and are just, she's blowing my mind right now. I can't even get my thoughts out. But he then gets up to start packing because we all know they're about to leave the next day. And she's sitting in the bed sulking. I'm like, here goes the self-sabotage. So he then sits down, seeing that she's upset, giving her more reassurance. He's telling her how much he loves her, how much he wants to be with her. She's sitting there rolling her eyes. I said, what do you want? What do you want? She says, I don't get it. You're like, tomorrow's a new day. Like, we need to sleep it off. And I don't get it. So he sees that you clearly in a mood. And at this point, it seems like you just want to be in that mood. So at that point, he's right. Sleep the shit off. Get up the next morning. Hope that maybe you're going to be able to talk and actually really explain yourself. Like, what? He's taking a mature approach instead of sitting here. I mean, you don't want to go to sleep angry, but you're inconsolable at this point. It's like she's sitting here trying her hardest to just have a moment and be upset and just be a child. But he then says, I'm trying to communicate that I'm happy where we are and I'm excited to move forward with you. She then says, you don't think that there's anything that you can say? I'm like, what more needs to be said? He keeps reassuring you that he wants to be with you. I'm like, you doing that same shit you was doing with Brendan. But he then says that I've been here for you. I'm trying to hold your hand and you brushing me away. She then tells him to come here. So they sitting there cuddling at this point. And he tells her that he feels like they're in a really good place. They're going to start living together. And I'm just stating that I'm really excited to do this with you. She then says, I feel like I'm all in and you're not. She then says, it hurts my feelings that you don't feel the way that I feel. I said, how are you getting to that conclusion? Because he said that all of the guys stated they were unsure. Like, he's been sitting here reassuring you this entire time that he actually really wants to be with you. Would you think it's not possible that he could be sitting here thinking about other things as well in terms of like what could be going on? Y'all haven't really lived together in the real life, and that's going to be the true test. So of course there's going to be a little bit of apprehension, but he's not stating that he doesn't want to be with you, but he's still reassuring her. And he says that he knows how much she needs that, which is why he's doing that, because she had told him that. But he then says too, like, there's going to be times where I want to do that, but I can't do that. And he then says, like, I can be here with you and I'm going to be here for you. And we just need to essentially get some good night's sleep. She then asks him, does he think that he'll ever get there with her? Like, do you think you'll ever get there with me? He says, I will. She then says, I don't feel like you are. I don't need you. This right here. I don't need you in my life. You're not somebody that I need and have to have. Like, you don't need to be there. My life is not going to fall apart if you're not in it. I want you a part of it. I said, that shit is rude as fuck. Because what if he would have said that to you? And you're basically stating to him, the man that you want to marry and spend the rest of your life with, that he does not need to be in your life. You don't need him in your life. Does that not negate the whole point in wanting to get married? Is the fact that you need that person in your life. People that I love deeply in my life, I need them in my life. Like, I need you in my life to be able to live this life. Like, my family, my friends, those people that I truly have built such a strong love for, I need them in my life. Yes, I want them, but I need them in my life. Like, there's certain things and certain people that you need in your life to be able to give you that reinforcements, those encouraging words, all of that stuff. So for her to sit here and say some shit like that, I'm like, you weirdo. Like, and it's weird coming from her considering how much she needs so much reassurance. Talking about she needs this and needs that. But she then says that I want to make that very clear. I don't need you. I said, Nick, get up. Because if she don't need you, then bye. Like, you don't need me in your life? Bye. Bye. He then says, why are you telling me that right now? Like, what are you trying to say? I'm like, exactly. She says, I want you here. I said, he then says, like, I feel like you're trying to blow it up saying what you're saying, which is exactly what she's doing, self-sabotage. She then says that she just wants him to know that he's her person, because if she wanted to leave, she could, because he's not somebody that has to be in her life. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? He can leave too. Like, he then says, like, you can keep saying that you don't need me, but what do you want me to do when I'm trying to get closer to you? Like, you sitting here saying this to me, like that won't make me want to pull away from you. I'm like, hello? But she then says there's a reason why I want to be married to you. And I said, what is that? Because it don't sound like you want to. But he then says, let's try and get some sleep. She goes, whatever you need to do. What is wrong with him stating, let's get some sleep? It's clear this conversation is going nowhere. So at this point, why are we going to continue to talk? She just wants to pick a fight with him. That's just really what it is. But he then says, like, why say stuff like that? She says, obviously, I care more about it than you do. I said, what? And then she starts crying. I said, something's wrong with these people. She starts gaslighting him, saying that he said that he doesn't love her as much as she loves him. And I said, when did he ever say that? And he says, like, you're putting words in my mouth, which I did. I'm not going to lie to you. When he said that, I started laughing because you know what he did with Kate in them damn pots, put words in her mouth. But I'm on his side with this. I'm completely on his side. But he says, you're putting words in my mouth. I did not say that shit. She says that you're annoyed with me. He's not, but he should be. Like, I'm annoyed with you, and I'm not even in the room with you. But she then says, like, you're not going to let me finish? He says, I mean, not if you're going to sit here and put words in my mouth. I said, hello. He then asks her, like, what do you need? And she says nothing. I said, what? All of this, and you claiming that you don't need nothing from him? Like, what the fuck? But he says that I feel like she's just basically looking for reasons to doubt them. And that's exactly what it is. Like, it's literally what it is. But Madison and Joe, they feel like they're back on track. The next day, everybody is packing and leaving Mexico to get back to Denver. So we get back to Denver. Calabria and Edmund, they're in their apartment. He's in there in cabinets. And she's like, whatever you like, I love. Whatever makes you happy, I'm happy. I said, I guess. I guess. Allie and Anton, they're sitting there people watching from their apartment bedroom. We then get to Megan and Jordan. I feel like she's trying to have a moment too. But she tells him that she's excited for him to see her taste. So she shows off her Sparkle Megan sheet. He starts talking about his setup with Luca at home. And she was like, but it's a 1-bedroom. He says, you'll see. Like, basically, like, it might be, but like, you'll see how I got it set up. So she starts talking about how she wants to look for new homes with him, and she's excited to do that. And it's going to be bigger than this. She's super materialistic. But he then says that he's excited for it, and he's excited for her to meet Luca's mom. She then says she's nervous. He says she's going to love you. It's no pressure. She'll love you. I promise. She then starts crying. Talking about some, you say that, but I've never done this before. I said, did you not think about that the whole time you were in the pods talking to a man that told you very much up front that he has a child? What did you expect? Like, what did you expect? And it's like, I understand her being nervous because you never know what you're going to walk into when it comes to somebody else's baby mama. But like the way she's acting about it, it just seems so forced to me. But he's comforting her, telling her that it's going to be fine. He wouldn't have gone through this experience if he didn't think it would be. She's like, it's a lot. He says, I know, it's okay. But she then says that she's not worried about like loving Luca. I love him. I feel like I already love him so much already right now. It's just the unknowns, but this is tough. That is obvious. I know that. But he says, I know, and it'll be fine. But they then start eating. She's talking about how she's overwhelmed and she needs to understand what it's like to be a stepmom. And he's giving her all these reassurances. Like, he's giving her all of these positive reinforcements, as he should be. And she says that she feels like she'll be more comfortable when she's in the situation, but she already has like a motherly instinct, and she just doesn't want to overstep. She doesn't want to overstep him. She doesn't want to overstep when it comes to baby mama. Those are normal things to go through. But I just think she's overthinking it. That's just really what it is. But he tells her like nothing needs to be forced. Like, you don't have to go out here and buying him so many things. You don't have to buy him so many expensive things. We got that covered. Me and his mom can handle that shit. She says, but that's my love language. It's a natural part of me. He says, that's fine. You can do that. Just don't go crazy. Basically what she stated, she don't want to overstep. He's telling her just don't overstep. You can do what you want to do. You can do that. You can buy him things if you want to, but don't be buying him $100 worth of things. Go buy him something that's $1. He is a kid. He'll be okay with a $1 toy instead of a $100,000 toy, which he's right. And it's like he's teaching his son the value of $1. So he says essentially he wants Luca to understand, like, you have to work for certain things, which is true. Like, everything is not handed to you. And when you start spoiling your kids like that, and when I say spoil, it's not bad to spoil your kids. If you have it, that's what you should want to do. You should want to spoil your kids. But I feel like you should teach them the value of $1 as well. Like, my parents raised me and my sister. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister. They raised us to where I never had to want for anything, but they also taught me the value of $1. Like, and when it came to like eating out and stuff, as a kid, you be wanting to eat fast food all the time. We didn't get to eat that shit all the time. They cooked meals for us throughout the week. Monday through Friday, when we was at school, you eating a cooked meal. On the weekend, you can go do that shit. They taught us the value of $1. Go buy your groceries. Go get some good food, some food that you should be eating. Eat that during the week. You can splurge on the weekend. It's not something that you need to have all the time. So they teach you the value of $1. That's basically what he's stating. But he then says that he just wants him to experience things too. He says, Luca's like me. We like to experience stuff. We like to go out and do things. And he starts telling her like all the things that Luca likes. And basically it's quality time over quantity, all of the nice things, all of the shit that she likes to talk about, money, money, money. So she starts talking about how she wants to be respectful to Luca's mom. And Jordan's like, I mean, if anything, she gonna be like, why are you with me? Like, why are you with Jordan? Why are you with Jordan? Which is something that I'd be like, oh, what you talking about? But they then kiss, they state they love each other. And he says, like, I don't have to get her approval for everything. Basically, he's trying to talk her down off of possible concerns with his baby mom. But he then says, like, I just don't want you to stress out about it. And she says, I mean, but what if I don't get to meet Luca for 2 weeks? And then we got to get married and then I meet him. Like, who's to say he might not like me or whatever? She's going through these, she's stressing herself out. That's just really what it is. Can I be completely mad at her for that? No, because, I mean, she got it. It's realistic. It's something that you do go through. But I feel like she's doing too much. Like, stress out whenever it matters. Like, in the moment, until it happens, you should be fine. Like, relax. But it's easier said than done. But if you got this far and haven't already liked the video, do that right now. I'm going to try and crank out episode 8 and 9. I'm really trying to do that. It is literally, you see that, 8:15. I'm going to try and get it done. We'll see if I can. I work a full-time job, but we'll see if I can. But I'm about to go do it now. Let's go.